So let's go ahead and take a look at just some of the punctuation that can be used inside of Unity and in our scripting. I'm going to go ahead and take the same file, the example one. We're just going to kind of play with this for this one video just so we can understand what all we can use. I'm going to go ahead and just delete this so we can focus on one area. There's a lot of symbols that can be used. We're going to just simply cover them straight through right here, and then we're going to use them again, and we'll kind of continue to cover them so it helps to reinforce it for you. But just so you have a place where you can go and you know that you'll be able to understand or see the example again. The first thing that we have is two forward slashes. The forward slash is next to on the keyboard. You're going to find it right next to the right shift key. It's going to be the one that's also the question mark. Now, forward slash, this is going to be comments. This is where you can place in, you can freely place in anything in here. Now, the next thing that we have is another type of comment. This is a block comment. It's going to be a forward slash and then the multiplication, the asterisk symbol right here. If you do it once, notice below here on this line it's now gray. What this is actually starting it, and to end it you do the same thing. You do the star and then the line, and now this actually comes black again. So anything in between this area becomes a block comment. And this is something that if you find yourself needing to comment out a large section, or you just need to type and you don't really want to have to do the forward slash every time, then just every time you go into here you can just start typing in. Alright. Now the next type that we're going to look at, so we have commenting, and then the next thing we want to look at is what is it we can use for parts of our sentences and our structures. Well, I'm going to use the comment just so that I can place it in here. This isn't intended to be part of the actual code though. So for instance, you could write the semicolon. Now the semicolon, this is going to be for punctuation. This is going to end the sentence. So this is going to end the sentence. Oops. Or statement. I'm going to try to keep words. We may go kind of programming words and back to more artistic or designer words. I want to try to keep this as just familiar to you as possible. So the semicolon is just going to end the statement, very similar like a period. Alright. If you wanted to, and we'll just kind of run through different ones here. If you want to have a object with a string value, it wants to actually say something. So just kind of like in a book, if you're reading something and they put quotation marks, anything in quotation marks is just going to be a string value. This is just going to be anything you want to place. It won't cause an error or an issue because it's not going to be looked at as code. It's going to be just string. So this one was a string text. The other option that you can have is the multiplication side of it. What is it? The arithmetic side. What are the things you can use for those? Well, with this, we'll have our plus. We'll just place these in here. We have plus, minus. We have multiply. We have divide. And we have the mod, which is the percentage sign. Alright. So you have your basic arithmetic. The next thing that we have, we're going to have different types of shapes. So for instance, we'll have ones like this where they're parentheses. Parentheses, this is going to just allow you to define whether or not an object is a method. And we'll just place, and there's different things it can be used for, but those can be just the basics of them. You have the brackets, and the brackets, these are going to be used for things like arrays, which we'll also think of them like lists. We have our curly cues. Now remember, the bracket, curly cue, these are going to be over on the keyboard. You'll see it over by P. They'll be right next to the right of it. The curly cues, this is going to be to section off a whole spot, so you can think of this as a something to block in your code. It can be used for classes, it can be used for methods, it can also be used for enumerations that we'll take a look at. So we'll just consider this the start and end points of code. Alright, so we have those. Now we also have things where we can check against elements. So for instance, if you're saying if this is greater than that, if this is less than that, those type we're going to use ones that look like this. We can say greater than, we can say greater than or equal to, we can say less than or equal to. We can also say things that look like, if we're going for and or, we can say if something is this and this, or if something is or this. And then if we say something is not this. Okay, so these are going to be our comparisons. Okay, so we have our basic, and these are just the basic things that we can use. So notice there, it's a little, in terms of punctuation, these are ones you want to memorize. These are ones you want to use enough times that you just start to remember what they are and what their purpose is. Alright, we'll put this up here so we remember. Okay, so we have our basic type. Be sure if you have this, just kind of copy it down somewhere. These are ones that we'll use. Alright, so I'm going to place all of these. Now if we wanted, we could place all of these in a separate file. I'm just going to cut these out of here. Be sure though that if you're going to use them, be sure to keep them. And then we'll start looking at how to use them in the next video.